Hello Internet, and welcome to my review of the cheap Zelda Ocarina of Time replicas that you see very commonly these days on websites such as eBay and Amazon. These ocarinas are typically unbranded, they're manufactured in China, and are known to be very cheap for a ceramic ocarina. So, as you can see, there are some problems with these ocarinas. First of all, the ocarinas are quite poorly tuned. You get some seriously flat sounding notes. This is the case regardless of how hard you blow or how good your breathing technique is. The ocarina has simply been poorly tuned.
Okay, so this is for all the people who think Amazon ocarinas are so out of tune. Entire scale, pretty much all in tune. I'm a beginner. My breath curve isn't amazing. Have a great day.
Hello folks, it's Kissing88 here, and as you saw in the opening scenes, somebody got quite upset at the Ocarina Network Facebook group because some people, including myself, were criticizing an Amazon ocarina. As you can see on this slide, these are the generally recommended ocarinas. So broadly you can put them into two categories, and there is some crossover between the two. So first you have the artisan-made ocarinas. These are usually ocarinas made by a single individual maker or maybe a small group of makers, and they're usually artisans, craftsmen, pottery experts, or even hobbyists turned professional who make the best ocarina possible following their philosophy of design. And then you have the reputable companies. So these are bigger operations than single or small groups of artisans that produce ocarinas, employ a number of professional ocarina makers to make standard models. They usually have a wider reach of distribution and make ocarinas at larger scales. And in the middle you've got some which are a bit of both, where the ocarinas are either made by a single or a small group of makers, but they have wider distribution channels, or in the case of Osawa ocarinas, they are made by Focalink as far as I'm aware, but their models are given very special attention and made to artisan quality. The good thing about these ocarinas is that we know who is making it or which company is making it. We can communicate with the company directly if there are any issues, and through the test of time they've been tried by many ocarina players in the community, and sometimes they're even used by professionals on the stage or to record albums. So in the name of science, I went ahead and purchased firstly the same Amazon ocarina that member was trying to demonstrate on the left here. This one costed me $64.83 Australian dollars, which is not particularly cheap, but perhaps including the shipping a bit cheaper than ocarinas made by a reputable maker. That's assuming we're talking about ceramic ocarinas. If we're talking about plastic ocarinas, you can get ocarinas from Folkalink, Songbird, or Night by Noble that are made out of plastic but are very good quality. And on the right, I also ordered one of the cheapest Amazon ocarinas I could find, this cheap Legend of Zelda replica, and in a short time they arrived and I unpacked them and tested them. So here's the issue that I have with Amazon ocarinas, and the same applies to Temu, AliExpress, eBay, or any of those other generic online shopping sites. On the left here, you can see that the artisan-made and reputable company ocarinas are generally guaranteed to be good quality, and if there are any quality issues, if you contact the company or the maker, they'll make things right, and usually it's very hard to go wrong with them. But with the Amazon, Temu, AliExpress, eBay, generic ocarinas, they can either be good or they can either be bad. And as of yet, I don't think anyone has fully documented which ones are the good ones and which ones are the bad ones. And I also don't believe anyone can guarantee the consistency. So I had 2 of the Amazon ocarina of the same model and both were alright, but who's to say how many in 100 are all good? Are some of them bad? Nobody knows. And if we look at a quick look at the prices again, the Amazon ocarina on the left was actually quite expensive. So personally, if I was going to spend around that amount of money, I'd probably save up a little bit more to get a more interesting or a more premium quality ocarina from a reputable company or an artisan maker. And here's the final slide for the video showing my conclusion, and this is my personal opinion, but with the artisan and reputable brand ocarinas, they are verified, they've been tried and tested by a large number of genuine ocarina players in the community. They have more unique and interesting designs and sound. You'll be supporting a maker or a company that's invested in the hobby. They generally hold resale value and are often collectible, and the maker will generally guarantee the quality and make things right if there's any issues. And I guess one of the cons is that with the exception of plastic ocarinas, ceramic ocarinas that are made by artisans and companies are quite labor intensive, and this can make them a bit more expensive to purchase than a generic ocarina from Amazon, Temu or eBay. Going on to the Amazon, Temu, eBay ocarina pros and cons. The pro is that they can cost less in general. So I know that the world's economy and the cost of living hasn't been great lately, and some people might be very enthusiastic about getting into the hobby, getting into ocarina playing and music, but cannot quite afford or justify the expense of a artisan or reputable brand ocarina. Personally, for a beginner that doesn't have a lot of money, or somebody who might already be experienced in music but don't want to spend too much yet, I'll still recommend like a good quality plastic ocarina from Noble or Knight or Vocalink or Songbird. You can even get a good quality triple plastic ocarina from a Chinese maker called Jigul that are quite good. But you know, ceramic ocarinas generally have a better tone and feel better to play than plastic ocarinas, and perhaps the Amazon ocarina is the only ceramic ocarina they can afford. And the other thing is Amazon, Temu, eBay, AliExpress now have very good returns, no questions asked policies, where if you receive something that's faulty or is just not good, you can actually return it through their customer service. On to the cons. So as I said earlier, it's hard to know which models are good or bad. The consistency of the quality hasn't been verified by a large number of ocarina players. The designs and tones can be a bit generic, and personally, at least the ones I found to be quite uninteresting. You know, it plays, it has a moderate breath curve, it sounds like an ocarina, but it doesn't quite have that pizzazz or unique flavor that my artisan made and the higher end reputable brand ocarinas have. These ocarinas are not likely to hold resale value because anyone can go to Amazon and see that it's quite inexpensive, and they're probably not willing to pay the same price or close to the same price second hand, and they're not likely to become collectible. And on the note about collectible, for better or for worse, sometimes an artisan ocarina or a reputable brand ocarina, when a particular model is only available for a limited run, or the ocarina maker retires and suddenly their ocarina becomes rare, they can actually go up in price. A classic example of this is the Maparam ocarina. Recently, a Maparam triple ocarina sold for, I can't remember the price, over $2,000, which is quite ridiculous, but you know, the market determines the price. And lastly, when you buy an Amazon ocarina, the money goes to a faceless company that's only interested in revenue and mass production, and you know, they don't invest in the hobby, the niche, the community, or add anything particularly interesting to the available ocarinas. So anyway, I hope this video has been informative. A lot of it is my personal opinion based on the particular ocarinas that I've owned and sampled. If you have any thoughts about Amazon, Temu, eBay or AliExpress ocarinas, please feel free to leave it in the comments. Anyway, better get going now. Laters.